Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Our problem of the day is count more than n by k occurrences. So in this problem, we are given with an array which has a length of n and we are given with element k. So what we have to do is we have to find those elements in the array which occurs more than n by k times. So let's take an example. 3, 2, 2, 1, 2. Here in our example, the array length is 5 and let's say k is equals to 2. So n by k will be 2. So to solve this problem, we have to take a hash map. What hash map will do is it will store all the elements along with its frequency in this array as a value. So we will iterate in this array from 0 to the length of the array and store the elements along with its frequencies in a hash map. So for the first iteration, our key will be 3. It will be added through a hash map and we have to assign a value to this key. So how to add the value to this key? First, we have to check whether it already contains any value or not. If it doesn't contain any value, we will provide with a default value, which is 0. And we have to increase it by 1. So for now, the frequency of this element is 1. So for 2, we will assign a value. So we can see there is no value. So it will return the default value, which is 0, and we have to increase it by 1. Accordingly, we will iterate through a whole array and assign the values. Now in the third iteration, the key will be 2 and the value associated to this key was 1. Here we have assigned it. Now we have to increase this value by 1. So if the value is already present for a key, then we will increase it by 1. Or if it is not present, then we will get the default value, which is 0, and increment it by 1. So like this, we will iterate the whole array. For the key 1, what we will get is we will return the default value because it came for the first time. So it is 1 and the last element of the array is 2. So what was the previous value? It contains 2. We will increase 2 by 1. So the final hash map will be the key 3 will have a value 1, key 2 have the final value 3, and key 1 is assigned with the value of 1. So we can see we got the frequencies of all the elements in the array. Now we have to iterate through this hash map and check whether the value is greater than n by k or not. If the value is greater than n by k, then we will increase our counter and finally we will return our counter. So in this example, 1 is less than 2, it will not increase the counter. 3 is greater than 2, so counter will be increased by 1. 1 is again less than 2, so counter will not be increased. So finally we will return the value of c. Now let's talk about the space and time complexity of the program. So as we have iterated through this array, if the array contains n elements, the time complexity for iteration will be big O of n. So if there are n unique elements in the array, we have to iterate n times in the hash map as well. So there also the time complexity will be big O of n. So finally we will get this time complexity, that is big O of 2n. So this can be represented as big O of n. As in big O notation, we can omit the constant terms. So this was our desired time complexity, and the space complexity will be big O of n only because you have used a single hash map to solve this problem. So apart from this logic, we can use another logic which will clean up our code and make it somewhat efficient. So we can implement hash set. To understand that, let's take the same example. Now what we have to do is we will create a hash set which will contain only the unique values in this array. Now we will start iterating through the array. If the first element is unique and is not present in the hash set, we will add the element in the hash set. Now we will use the same logic as we used before. We will create a hash map. So for the first iteration, our key is 3. We will add this key in the hash set only if it is not present. So for the first time it will be added. Now we will use the previous concept of hash map. If it is added to the hash set, then we will assign it with the value of 1. Now for the second iteration, the key will be 2, which is also not present in the hash set. So we will add this to the hash set. Now in the hash map, we will assign the value of 1 to it. In the third iteration, we can see 2, which is already present in this hash set. So we will not include in the hash set. In this case, we have to increase the value of the key with 1. Previously it was 1, we got 2 now. Now after further iteration, 1 is a unique element, it will be added to our hash set. And if it is added in the hash set, we will associate its value with 1. In the next iteration, we got 2, which is already there in the hash set. So our hash set is complete. It will come to the else condition, else part. Here we will assign the value by incrementing this previous value. So we got 3. So now the final hash map will be 3 with 1, 2 with the final value assigned is 3, and 1 contains 1. The number of these are all the frequencies. So basically the logic is same, just we have added this hash set to keep a track on every unique elements of the array, and our hash map keeps a track on how many times these elements appeared in this array, in our given array. So let's check the time and space complexity for this as well. For iterating in the array of n element, the time complexity is big O of n. To iterate through this hash map, we will get maximum of big O of n, and which is same as time complexity in the hash set as well. So the total time complexity big O of 3n. So as I have previously mentioned, it can be represented as big O of n because in big O notation we can exclude the constant terms. So we have meet our expectations. Now let's code this part. So let us code using the second logic where we will take a hash set to store the unique elements and hash map which will store the frequencies of these unique elements only. So let's take a hash set of integer type. It will store all the unique vals. We also need a hash map to store all the frequencies along with its keys. Integer, comma, integer. Let's name it frequency. Now as our logic says, we have to iterate through our array for int a in arr. So our hash set will only add the unique elements dot add a. It will only add the unique elements. So if this condition is true, means if the value is added in the hash set, so if this condition satisfy, we can say that the frequency of this element is 1. So we will add the value of this key in hash map. Frequency dot put for the key a, the frequency will be 1. And if that condition doesn't satisfy, means it is not unique and it appear multiple times, So we have to calculate its frequency and update the values of the key in the hash map. So frequency dot put. So for the key A, we will update the present value which we will get from frequency dot get method and increment it by 1. So this method will return the present value of the key A, and we have to increase it by 1. So we are ready with our hash map which stores all the frequency of elements present in the array. Now we have to return the number of frequency that are more than n by k. So let's store n by k value in a variable. Now we will iterate in our hash map. Let's create a counter. So let's run a loop in our hash map to get all the values stored in it and check whether the value is greater than our temp or not. If it is greater, it is satisfying our condition. We will increase our counter by 1, and at last we will return our count. Let's compile our code. Code is running fine. Let's submit. So the code is fine. If you want the code for the previous logic, I will add it in the description. Thanks for joining, guys. Meet you in the next video.